the root of the equation to solve. Yes. Without using this formula, good. We have another method that is very conventional. That if the root is positive, the factor becomes negative. Then you multiply the two factors equals to 0. Very possible. Very possible. But this comes in step 3. Take the square. Take the half. Take the half of the square of the coefficient of x and add to both sides of the equation. Now let's see what we mean. That is, comma, i.e. means that is. Take the half 1/2 half of multiplication. The square of the coefficient of x. Coefficient of x here is b/a. Please, are you still watching? Coefficient of x in step 2. Coefficient of x in step 2. You can see it clearly. b/a. So b/a. Everything what now? Squared. Half of the square of the coefficient of b/a. So let's express the brackets. 1 times b will be b/2 times a. Denominator will be 2a. Still squared. So this is what we are to add to both sides of the equation in step 2. So let's add that. The more you pay attention to it, the deadlier it affects you. Pretend nothing is happening. Am I not here too? Everything begins from the mindset. So we are adding this to both sides of step 2. So this will be x squared plus b/ax plus, I add this now, b/2a all squared. I'm done with this left hand. I cross to equality. I have minus c/a. I add the same guy again, plus b/2a all squared. Then from the left hand side now, step 4. I'm done with step 3. Step 4. We check what is at the left hand side and we check what is at the right hand side. Please, let's watch the left hand side. I have x squared and I have b/2a squared. We combine the common squares. Common squares will be x plus b/2a all squared. Square and square, combine them, squared. Then we expand and simplify. So this is minus c/a plus, let's expand this to be b/2a times another b/2a. So this will be minus c/a plus multiply b times b squared over 2a times 2a, 4a squared. Then we take the LCM just to simplify. LCM of these two fractions, 4a squared. Thank you. 4a squared divide a. 4a times minus c minus 4ac plus 4a squared divide 4a squared. 1 times b squared, b squared. So we rearrange. Let positive number come before the negative of the numerator. Just a rearrangement. This will be b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Then bring down your left hand side. X plus b/2a all squared. We are done with step 4. We simplified in step 4. Simplify both sides. Simplify both sides. That's what happened at step 4. Yes, sir. James. James, any James here? James, James. Please, any James here? James. Commercial. You'll be here now. Okay. And you must have given us another name here. Then BS James are home. It happens. Now, if you come to my house now, you are looking for Dr. Sam. Nobody will answer you. But if you are looking for Obinna, they say that is the apartment. All right. So step 4 is to simplify both sides, which we have done. Now step 5. Take the square root of both sides. That's step 5. Take the square root of both sides. Please don't forget, we are deducing or proving or deriving quadratic formula. How the formula came about. It all began from completing the square method. So let's take the square root of both sides. I'll do that up here. So we are taking the square root of both sides of step 4. So this is square root of x plus b over 2a all squared equal to, mathematically, when you are taking the square root of variables, unknown variables, it can be plus or minus because you don't know what BAC represents. So we can either be a positive root or a negative root. That's what you have there. Then we continue with the square root. Numerator we have a square root b square minus 4ac. Denominator we have a square root 4a squared. We are taking the square root of all sides. Now let's go for that. Square, we cancel out the square root. We are left with x plus b over 2a equal to plus or minus. Square root of this is not possible in any way. So we leave it as it is. B square minus 4ac. But denominator is possible. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of a square, a. So it's just 5 steps to the application of completing the square method. So from here, carry your bag now. We are done already. So from here, plus crossover there. X equals to plus crossover minus b over 2a, then plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. Then you take LCM. Finally, the formula becomes minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. And this is quadratic formula. All right, so by God's grace, we have been able to deduce that, how to use complete square method to derive quadratic formula. Every mathematical induction have a standard. If you change it, you have failed it. Sword have a standard. If you change the rule, standard means rule. It must be like this. If you violate the standard, you violate the rule. So there's no need of manipulating math. You manipulate it to get it wrongly. Because there is a rule, there's a law, there's a principle. People discovered it. It didn't just happen. We are not discovering anything. We are only recapping what people have discovered. You make your equation ax squared minus bx minus c equals to 0. as the general quadratic standard, it will violate quadratic formula. That's the rule. All right. Because the square root of a negative number is complex. If you are solving quadratic equation using quadratic formula, and you are having, when you have subtracted here, you are now having minus 36, and you punch it in your calculator, it will give you error. You can't punch the square root of a negative number. So why not change it by yourself? Why is it wrong mathematically? If you want to manipulate math now to ask question, why not you come and say you want to change it? You are not the first person now. Somebody has configured it, programmed it. There's no way you press the square root of a number in any calculator and you get a positive answer. You get error. You can try it now. Not looking at me. Try it. Try it. Bring your calculator. Try it. Square root of minus 36. Try it. Don't look at me. Mass error. So it's even a mathematical error. So you can't change it. But a topic came up that is possible. They call it complex numbers. We can leave the answer now as 6i, which is a further math topic. Complex imaginary numbers. So we assume the negative sign to be imaginary. That's what we mean by I. But quadratic equation is not a complex equation. So we can't deal with imaginary numbers. What did I call ABC? Real numbers. Do you remember? Yes. So when you see something and you ask questions, learn to be convinced. Everything we are studying is not newly discovered. No knowledge is newly discovered. Except you don't know it, then it looks new to you. It's not newly discovered. It's not. I taught the evening students last year, I remember very well, some group of students around October, November, how you can be able to find the square root of any number without calculator. Square root of 5 without calculator. There's a formula for solve. But we don't teach it for secondary school. Why? Because it's recommended for WAEC to use calculator. The day Nigeria will say no more calculator for WAEC, for JAM, for junior WAEC, for, you see a lot of method coming up. Are you get my point? But because there is the need of calculator, so teachers are relaxed to suppress some idea. So why struggle myself? Even if you teach the students, they will still not obey. Imagine I tell you in objective exam, objective. I say without using calculator, find the square root of 10. Option A, 2 points. Option B, yes. Okay. So to your C, good afternoon, ma'am. Please, Dr. White is upstairs. You are to your C, right? I remember. Hello. You together? Okay. Upstairs. All right. So imagine objective exam, and I ask you not to use calculator in my instruction, and my options are in decimal form. Who is deceiving who? How else can I get decimal form if not pressing? But if I do it as theory now, without using calculator, find the square root of 10. If you give me your answer in decimal points, then you are wrong. Because it's only the use of calculator that can provide decimal point. And square root of 10 does not have any perfect square. So how can we do it? It's possible. There's a formula. If you see Agnes, ask her. She will soon come. Wait till 4. You see Agnes. Or you don't know Agnes? Anybody? All right, let's continue. You just came down to my spirit. You know what, the secondary school students? Why I like teaching many at times the secondary school students is because challenge. Teachers in school, different students go to different tutorial. They all come together to meet in school. They want to, compete with each other to know which tutorial is strongest. Now they brought a question, sir. Is it possible to find the square root of a number without calculator? I say yes. They gave me a question. I solved it. They say, but when they get there, they started discussing among themselves. Even when they give to their teacher, the teacher say no, the rule of third, once it does not have irrational root. And I did it. Then one of them was asking me, sir, how did you know it? I said, don't worry. That is why you are in the wise campus. If I don't teach some certain things, it just simply means you don't need it now. That's the meaning. Not like we don't know it. But if you like, you bring it, you see it. All right, let's shoot. Let's take an example to apply that formulas we have deduced. But before that, let me teach you how to form a quadratic equation. Let's start from the subheading roots of a quadratic equation. Roots of a quadratic equation. Let me teach you how to form a quadratic equation. Roots of a quadratic equation. There are two roots of a quadratic equation. There are two roots of a quadratic equation. That is, x can equals to a or x equals to b, where a and b are the roots of the equation. That's the answer. Hope you are following me, sir. The answer you get for the quadratic equation is what we call the roots of the equation. It can be two positive roots. It can be x equals to minus a or x equals to minus b. You can get two negative roots. You can as well get one positive root and one negative root. X can be minus a or x equals to positive b. It's very possible. Hope you get what I'm saying. Yes. All right. Now you want to set a quadratic equation exam for someone, or you want to even teach yourself quadratic equation. You can know the answer before you form the equation. Then you resolve the equation. You get the same answer you pick in your mind. It's very simple. You want to teach your younger one now, he will respect you. You say, I don't understand quadratic equation. Should I go and bring textbook? You say, no, don't worry. I will give you an example and I'll give you a classwork. And often you can do that. You can create the equation from the answer. Now let's see. To form a quadratic equation, find the sum of the roots s. That's point one. You want to form a quadratic equation from the roots. The first thing is to find the sum of the roots. Second thing is to do what now? Find the product of the roots. Find the product of the roots. We use capital P to represent products. You want to form a quadratic equation from a given root. You get what I'm trying to do, sir? From a given root, you want to form the equation. First of all, find the sum, addition of the two roots. Secondly, multiply the two roots, products. Then you apply this formula. Then apply x squared minus sum of x plus product equals 0. You will get your quadratic equation. Then we can now solve that quadratic equation again. You must get the same answer you started with. Very simple like that. So we can choose any number will get a quadratic equation. Any number.